Yep. Inside, I want to kill myself. We are on an 0-7 run over the last 2 days. After tonight was just complete bullshit. So that's how I'm going to start off this show. Horrible Sunday, 1-5. I don't even know what to tell you about that. I just don't want to do this anymore. I have never seen anything like this, man. With the slump continuing, 2 straight losses, not a good day at all. 0-4. I just have not had a good season, man. What can this slump that I'm on? The slump continues. I've reached a new peak, actually. I'm going to burn my Bruins hat, man. I don't know what is going on with the Bruins. March 8th, is that what it is? I don't even know. It's March 9th, I think. Who even knows, man? I don't know what day it is anymore. I don't even know what day it is anymore, man. Back with you after the worst day that I could possibly have. Back with you, as I always am. Until I die, at least. 0-2 yesterday, and yesterday did not go well for me. 0-5. The worst month that I've ever had in my 18 years doing this. I don't know what to even tell you about this anymore. Broke the slump yesterday as the slump just continues. The slump continues. Somebody fucking kill me, please. I don't even know what I should do at this point other than potentially end it all. What's up, everybody? It's Toad back with you. Toadstool Sports. This is Sunday, November 30th edition. Thanks for everybody who hung out for the NFL show last night. For the, I don't even know what to call that show. It was, I'm assuming it was a disaster. I don't remember it. Yeah, I was in a fury of blind rage, whatever. I gave out 2 NFL plays. One is in the night game tonight, which I'll mention that again at the end of the show here, and then one is tomorrow night. Again, I would say keep looking for the key number on the one for the night game here, the 7. It might show up. I already see 7 at -120 at one book out there, so I think it might actually happen. Well, you could even take that if you want to. I don't usually like to lay the -120, but it is a key number, so I mean that's probably the most that I would lay on it. But if you do see that at one of the books, you could take that just to get on the key number. Pinsy, what's up, man? Thanks for hanging out. I probably drove everybody away last night because I literally did not even look at the chat. I was just like, I'm going to do this. I'm done. Yeah, Auburn, man. I mean, seriously, Auburn, I don't even know if I mentioned it last night. Auburn outgained Alabama by over 100 yards in the game. And even after all the rest of that BS happened, Auburn was driving in Alabama territory at around the 30 with a chance to tie the game if they got a touchdown with all their timeouts left, and they fumbled the ball over. So, yeah, Auburn had 2 turnovers, like both really late in the game. Everything is rigged, dude. Everything is rigged. That should have been a winner for us here. Let's talk about college basketball. I mean, I don't have much to say about college basketball. The slate kicks off at noon where we have this Lafayette challenge going on that is being hosted by Lafayette in Pennsylvania. Lemoyne is playing Ball State, which is, I don't know how they do this tournament because Ball State has lost both games, and they put up an extremely ugly 37 points in the last game against the host Lafayette, and they're facing Lemoyne, who has somehow actually won both games so far, including beating Lafayette. I mean, none of these teams are good, but Lemoyne's not good either. So, I mean, just my quick read on that would be probably looking at this line, too, the fact that Lemoyne is only a 1.5-point favorite, even though the line has moved up, maybe 2. I would probably look towards taking the points with Ball State, as horrendous as that sounds. I mean, both of these teams suck, so I don't know, man. I mean, that's probably the way I would look. Ball State, probably angry about how horrendously they shot in the last game or whatever it was. I mean, 39 points is totally embarrassing, so that's probably the way that I would look. We have this Philadelphia thing going on that's being hosted by, who's the host of this again? Penn, I think. Penn at the Palestra. For some reason, my Massachusetts Merrimack guys are in this. They suck. They're facing LaSalle here, though. LaSalle coming off a close game against the host, Penn. Would have been a big win for LaSalle to get that win, even though I think they're only a small underdog in the game. I mean, it's still a Philadelphia battle. Like, I don't really see them caring that much about Merrimack. And then Drexel up next is another Philadelphia area school. LaSalle's up to a 3.5-point favorite. I'd probably take the points with Merrimack, but I mean, don't listen to me on these games that I don't have strong opinions on. Merrimack did get blown out by Hofstra, who I think is also in this Philadelphia thing for whatever reason, even though they're a New York school. So whatever. But yeah, Merrimack, I know I said I thought they would cover against Penn. They didn't do it, but it might be a spot where maybe they put in a good effort for once. St. Joe's is playing Princeton, the other Philadelphia area team here, St. Joe's, going to Princeton over the border in Trenton here, which I don't believe that's at Princeton's campus, right? I don't think so. I could be wrong about that. You correct me if I'm wrong. I forget where in New Jersey Princeton is. I don't know what this game is, to be honest, unless maybe that is where Princeton is. I don't know. But Princeton, they're at 3-6 on the season. St. Joe's is 3-3, so I mean, it almost looks too obvious to play St. Joe's, although they're up to a 4.5-point favorite. They're getting the money, 60% of tickets, 92% of the cash on them. Don't quite know if I would agree with that, although St. Joe's did just break their losing streak. They came back from the Pacific Coast after they did lose to Penn. They went out, they lost to UNLV. I think St. Joe's just missed the cover for us in that game, too, and I was really angry about it. They came back home. They beat a non-Division I team to kind of get more, like, to regain their momentum, I guess. So they do have momentum, at least, coming into this. Princeton, I think, did just come off a game against Vermont, so that was, I don't know, I guess somewhat of a bigger game. I mean, they just played Temple as well before that, so some difficult games there. I don't know. I mean, maybe looking at that, I guess maybe I would agree with the St. Joe's side. The fact that the Vermont game was a little bit more difficult for Princeton there. More of an effort. Vermont was the favorite. Don't have much to say about this, though. UNC Asheville is hosting something in Asheville here. They're up against an in-state rival, if you want to call it that, with App State here. Asheville is actually the better team. Both of these teams, I think, are pretty bad this year. Asheville up to a 3-point favorite. Don't really have a whole lot to say otherwise about that. I don't even know which one of these teams considers themselves to be the little brother. Really probably App State, because Asheville at least has done damage in the Big South Conference for a while. Asheville's coming off a pretty ugly loss, though, as 5.5-point favorites to Tennessee State. So I would probably lean to the Asheville side. I think they're the better team. Looks like they'd probably be in bounce back mode here. Probably be in bounce back mode here. Also, the fact that App State's 4-4 and Asheville is 2-4 probably has people wondering, why is Asheville the favorite? Obviously, part of it is that they're hosting this. This is on their home court, but I think that probably is the way to lean. All right, let's go to the best bet. I have one bet here, and it is going to be taking the points with UTSA, Texas San Antonio. We're going to fade South Alabama. This game is on Texas San Antonio's home floor in San Antonio. South Alabama, they just took their first loss of the season. You know, I talk about this. When a team takes their first loss, a lot of times they will effectively lose that game twice and not have a good game in the next game. Now, not only that, but South Alabama's had some pretty big games, man. They just did the rounds. They just beat in-state rival, if you want to call it that, Jacksonville State. But then their game that they lost that I was just referring to, that was a big game, dude. That was against UAB on the road. And UAB, I think they definitely consider UAB to be one of the bigger brothers in the state of Alabama against them. That was a huge game for them. And they had chances to maybe pull off this upset. They were 7.5-point underdogs. It was a game that they absolutely got up for. And they were getting blown out in the game. Around halftime, they were down double digits. They came all the way back and tied the game with 2:56 left. Didn't go away. The game was still within one in the final couple minutes of the game, and then they fell just short. I mean, that is brutal. That's a brutal result to come off of, man. As a pretty big underdog against an in-state big brother, huge game, meaningful game to you. Now you go on the road. You got to go to Texas, which would be the first time South Alabama's gone to Texas. They've done okay on the road so far. I mean, they beat Toledo on the road and Jacksonville State on the road, but even so, I mean, one of those games was in their home state, the Jacksonville State one. Jacksonville State's not that good. Toledo's all right. I mean, probably Toledo's better than UTSA, although I'm actually not even sure. I closed Ken Palm, but whatever. Ken Palm doesn't have a ton of separation between these two teams, even though South Alabama is the better of the two teams. It's not that significant. They do have an undefeated New Mexico State team up next back home. So I don't know if they're going to be looking ahead to that or not. That's not a conference game or anything like that, but neither is UTSA. I don't know. I think they might get caught, man, having to go to Texas for the first time this year. South Alabama did also play in Florida in one of those tournaments, so they have not played in Texas this year. Going to be an unfamiliar venue to them. UTSA, I mean, they just regained some momentum with a win over Georgia Southern. I mean, Georgia Southern, not a great team, but decent win there anyway. I know UTSA hasn't looked good at home against some of these. I don't think they've. That was their only win so far against a D1 team at home. They lost to Abilene Christian and SIU Edwardsville, although those teams are both okay. What do you want to call them? Mid-majors or whatever. And yes, I know UTSA does have Alabama next, but that's not for a week. So I do think they're going to remain focused on this game at home with a week off prior to that. I'm going to hope, and that's the hope here. But I think the spot is just really bad for South Alabama for what they're coming off of. People are also going to look at this if they see this game and see, oh my God, South Alabama 6-1, UTSA 4-3, and it looks way too easy to lay this small price of 2.5. So that's another thing. It almost looks like a trap to me. So we'll take the points here. I think this line probably should be closer to about 1. So that's what we're going to do. South Alabama has moved up a little bit, but it does look like the money's coming back on Texas San Antonio. You might be able to, I don't know if the 2.5 is still out there. I'd still probably take the +2 as well. Even up to about +1, I would probably still do it, or down to about +1. 60% of tickets, 81% of the cash on UTSA. And of course, even though I recommend taking the points, I would put like 10% of the bet on the money line as well, as usual, especially in a game with a small line like this. I mean, if you're playing that team, you're saying they're pretty likely to win the game. So looks like the money agrees. It's a low total as well. Even though I believe UTSA plays a little bit faster than South Alabama, so I actually think they're going to want to try to speed the game up a little bit. But all that being said, yeah, we'll go with it here. We'll take the points here. I think UTSA is also the slightly better defensive team, so that is what we'll do there. All right. What else did I even want to talk about here? William and Mary is kind of interesting because they're playing what usually I think they consider to be a big brother in the state of Virginia, Old Dominion, but William and Mary's playing really well to start the season. Old Dominion's way down this year. William and Mary coming off a ridiculous blowout of Abilene Christian, who's not really that bad of a team. Old Dominion has not won a road game yet this season. They're on the road again here, although, of course, they're in their home state. They're coming off a game against Villanova where they played all right and came to within 14 on the road. But it's very interesting that William and Mary is a 7.5-point favorite, and they're taking some of the money here. They're the better team this year over Old Dominion, which is usually not the case. Interesting to see that, but yeah, I mean, I would probably lay it because I think William and Mary, I mean, they're going to get up for the game, I believe, even though they are coming off a blowout. I guess you could argue that, well, Old Dominion isn't really used to being in an underdog role against William and Mary, so they might kind of come out with more of a chip on their shoulder because of that. But I don't really have a whole lot to say about the rest of these games, so I'm just pointing it out. Yale and Vermont is actually going to be one of the better games of the day. There aren't too many games that really look very enticing to watch today, even though there are going to be some competitive matchups between bad teams. These are at least decent mid-major teams. Yale, I believe, is the better team. They're off to a nice 6-1 start. They just won this tournament that they were in, though, in the Virgin Islands. They beat Akron to finish that off. Nice performance from Yale in that tournament. Even though they didn't cover for me against Green Bay. So thanks a lot, Yale. So Yale coming off of that, they could be in a little bit of a letdown spot off of that and having to travel up to Vermont. Yale has been good on the road so far, though. They beat Quinnipiac in a blowout on the road. That's a pretty decent win. Quinnipiac, not a terrible team, and like kind of an in-state little brother situation there. Quinnipiac, they'll get up to face Yale. I mean, Quinnipiac is also only like one town over from where Yale is, so they were going to get up for that game, and Yale still demolished them. And then Yale did win at Navy as well in a blowout, although Navy isn't good. But they've shown the ability to win on the road. But to me, this does look like kind of a letdown spot. They haven't been on the road for a while. Vermont is going to be the furthest true road game that they've played so far, I believe. No, Navy, I guess was. What am I saying? But still, Vermont, I don't know. It's not really an easy place to play. Vermont is coming off winning in a tournament that they were in as well, but they were in Florida. So I don't know. The travel, I guess, is comparable, I guess, but Florida probably a little bit of an easier travel spot there. Vermont did beat Princeton to finish off that tournament and avoid taking last place in that tournament. Now they're coming back home. To me, I mean, I think the letdown spot is the angle here. I would lean to Vermont in this one. You're getting points. Yale is definitely a favorite here. Yeah, Yale's a 6.5-point favorite. It's a pretty low total, down to 148. Probably makes sense to look towards taking the points with Vermont in that one. Lafayette hosting their tournament against Monmouth. Both of these teams have had basically the same results in this tournament. Both of these teams beat Ball State and lost to Lemoyne. I don't know what Lemoyne is doing in this tournament. I don't know what Lemoyne is on in this tournament. Are they taking PEDs? I don't know. It's not like these teams are very good, though. Lafayette and Monmouth, none of these teams are good. But Lafayette, they're hosting this thing. They're probably going to want to hold serve here, would be my guess. They're 2.5-point underdog, though. But, I mean, oddsmakers telling you Lafayette sucks and that Monmouth is actually the better of the two teams. I don't know. I would probably lean towards taking the points of the home team here, though. Monmouth also is 0-3 in road games so far, although Lafayette is a weak opponent. And their other road games, two of them were against Seton Hall and Syracuse. Obviously better teams than Lafayette, but still, I don't have much of an opinion on it, though. Low total, by the way, in that game. Hofstra, for some reason, involved in this UPenn tournament. UPenn is hosting it. They're at home in this one against Hofstra. Coming off a close call against LaSalle, but they might still consider that to be a big win against LaSalle because it's an in-city little brother situation. Big brother, little brother situation. Hofstra just annihilated Merrimack, but I mean, that's not a surprise. They suck. Hofstra is the better team, as the oddsmakers are telling you. They're a 1.5-point favorite, even though they're on the road. Probably would slightly lean to Hofstra on that one, but no real opinion there. Texas Tech is the only ranked team playing today, ranked 20th, and they get this matchup that nobody's going to watch at home against Wyoming. I mean, Texas Tech obviously does not need to go all out in this game. They won for us in their previous game, covering against New Orleans. So that was a nice win. They do have LSU next, so an SEC team up next. I know it's a bad SEC team, but, LSU looks like they're a little bit better this year, maybe, and they've done decently not too long ago. So that is a much bigger game than Wyoming at the very least. So Texas Tech, they might overlook Wyoming. Wyoming's off to a pretty good 6-1 start, although they really haven't played anybody good. And they took a loss in their only road game at Sam Houston, who I also don't think is that good. So obviously Texas Tech is the significantly better team, but I also don't really see a reason for Texas Tech to really push it in this game. Like, they know they can win without doing a whole lot in this game. They're up to a 21-point favorite. I would probably look towards taking the points in that one. Texas Tech also doesn't really play particularly fast, so covering a big number like that, even though I know we laid the points with them in their last game, but that was like a specific spot where it made sense to do it. I think in this spot, taking the points makes more sense, but I don't really want to do it. Jeffrey, what's up? Thanks for hanging out, man. All right. We do have West Virginia in action today. One of the big boys against Mercyhurst. Mercyhurst, they've been interesting this year, man. Mercyhurst only in their second year in Division I, I think, and they've had some competitive games here. They're coming up playing Miami, Ohio to within 5 on the road. Miami, Ohio, 15.5-point underdog. Mercyhurst potentially could have won that game. It looked like they had a chance to at one point. That's why I faded them in the next game. Marshall did not get the job done for us, and Mercyhurst actually played pretty well again, only losing by 9 and covering against Marshall. Not happy about that, obviously, personally. Mercyhurst, at some point, I'm expecting this to run out for them, although they haven't played for a week now. You got to think they will want to step it up for a game against West Virginia, though the last time they played a team in a power conference, Northwestern embarrassed Mercyhurst. Northwestern is better than West Virginia, although West Virginia, I think they're improving. I mean, they got North Texas's old coach there. Now they're playing this really annoying slow-down style that teams don't really like to play, although Mercyhurst does play slow as well. So I don't know if that's, I think they do. So that I don't know if that's going to really throw them off that much. But West Virginia, I mean, they're coming off having to play in some tournament where they lost to Clemson and to Xavier. This was in Charleston, South Carolina. West Virginia took those 2 losses. That was a week ago, and now they're back home. But do they bounce back from that? I don't know. I probably would not want to lay a ton of points with West Virginia, though. I mean, they're just such a slow-down style now. They're a 22-point favorite with a ridiculously low total of 128, one of the lowest that you'll see in college basketball, and that's because West Virginia is the new North Texas, basically. North Texas still plays slow, but now that their coach is at West Virginia, he's got some of his guys there. West Virginia already played slow, too, but now they play at a snail's pace, so asking them to cover a 22-point spread is a huge ask for West Virginia. They should win the game, but they probably won't cover, would be my guess. So I'd probably look towards taking the points. Fordham, they're on my good side because they had a nice win and cover for us yesterday against Albany. Now they got to step it up a little bit to play Colgate, who is a little bit better than that, playing in this Quebec tournament up here. Colgate is the better team. Colgate did beat Albany, so everybody will see that. But Colgate didn't look good in that win, though. Colgate, they only beat Albany by 2 points, and now we're seeing Fordham just beat them by 20. Colgate coming off a win that will continue their momentum against, some non-Division I team. SUNY Oneonta, which is State University of New York at Oneonta. They're up in this Quebec thing, too, for whatever reason. Colgate got an easy win there. That should continue their momentum, at least. I would probably lean towards Colgate. They flipped to a 1.5-point favorite. People might look at the team's records and stuff and be kind of misled here. Oh, Fordham's 6-2, and Fordham just destroyed who did I say it was? Yes, Albany. They just destroyed Albany. Albany sucks, and Albany almost beat Colgate, which, by the way, was part of the handicap in yesterday's win with Fordham because Albany was coming off that tough game. But people are going to look at all that and think, oh, my God, it's basically a pick the winner. Fordham's actually an underdog. How are you getting the team with the better record as an underdog? The team that's in the better conference, the A-10. The Patriot League sucks. Colgate barely got by Albany. Fordham destroyed Albany. Everything from the public's perspective makes it look really easy to play Fordham in this game, so I would not do that. I would play Colgate in this one. Odds makers telling you they're the better team, even though I still agree that the Patriot League is terrible. But, yeah, that's the way that I would look at that game. Bonaventure and Florida Atlantic is kind of an interesting one at Florida Atlantic. FAU is hosting this one. For Bonaventure, they have not played a true road game yet this year, so that is a difficult spot when you play your first true road game this late into the season, man. FAU is undefeated at home. Going to be difficult. FAU is coming off a difficult game, though. There's no doubt about that, against George Mason, which was in Daytona Beach, so it wasn't at FAU. So they were up in Daytona, and they're coming back home from that. That was a big game. FAU played pretty well in that game. They were in that game. George Mason is one of the top teams in the A-10 right now. That was a big game. Florida Atlantic did put in a big effort there. So it looks like kind of a difficult spot for both teams, to be honest. However, FAU is laying points, which does look a little bit interesting when you see that. If you look at the records here, Bonaventure's 6-1, FAU's 5-2. So it almost looks tempting to take the points with Bonaventure. The money looks like it's on FAU at 3.5, 55% of the cash on them, 67% of tickets on Bonaventure. I'll agree with the market. I think the fact that it's the first true road game and the market read kind of those are the clinching factors in that one. I'm not going to play it or give it out as a play, but FAU seems to be the side in that game. Charleston is hosting whatever this thing is against Belmont. This might not even be a tournament anymore. They're just hosting Belmont. This is actually a good game, though. One of the other good games of the day. Belmont is undefeated, but Belmont really has faced a pretty easy schedule. I mean, their biggest win, I guess, is their most recent game against Toledo. I mean, they really have not been tested yet. So Belmont, a little bit of a false 7-0, although I'm not saying they're bad by any means, but Charleston's sitting at 4-4, but they've faced a much more difficult schedule. I mean, they faced Liberty, FAU, Drake. Drake looked good again yesterday. Yale. Beating UMass is not a bad win either. Charleston has definitely been more tested, so that's going to factor into this handicap, too. It looks too easy to lay the 2 with Belmont, right? How are you only laying 2 points with a 7-0 team against a 4-4 team? It looks way too easy to lay it with Belmont. They're public, 75% of tickets and cash. I would look to take the points with Charleston. They're coming off a bounce-back win, an easy win over Evansville. Evansville sucks, so that should just give them some momentum back. And again, Belmont having to go back out on the road, and the only true road game they played so far was at Oral Roberts, and I know they played well in the game. They beat them by 23. Charleston is better than Oral Roberts, though. So, yeah, I mean, that's basically what I have to say about that. Oral Roberts was a weird venue for Belmont to have to go to, though, because Belmont is in Tennessee, so that was odd. All right. And then, yeah, the other game in that Asheville tournament is vomit-inducing with the Citadel and Presbyterian. I don't really have much to say about that. I'm just pointing the game out. Presbyterian is actually a 7.5-point favorite. Imagine how bad of a team you have to be a 7.5-point underdog against Presbyterian, against the Blue Hose, the team whose mascot and name is literally Pantyhose. I mean, it's ridiculous. It would be actually less embarrassing if it was just a hose. The total is down to 131 in that game. They're just an ugly, ugly total. I mean, for a team like Presbyterian, I don't know. It seems like a big ask to ask them to cover a number like that. UC Irvine is only laying 1.5 at San Jose State. I mean, people probably remember the Irvine name because they've been one of the better teams in the Big West for a while now. They might be a little bit down this year, though, man. It seems like UC San Diego is kind of taking over that role. UC Irvine just got a big win in Cancun against South Dakota State, who's not a bad team. Irvine was able to salvage the Cancun tournament with a win there. Now they're coming back to California, but they're going to San Jose. Kind of a weird travel spot to have to go from Mexico up to San Jose. San Jose State is coming back. They're staying in California. They're coming back from Palm Springs, where they beat this Loyola team that really just looks like they're no good this year, so nothing to really gain from that. I think the travel spot is better for San Jose here. That is probably the way that I would look, and people are going to look at this and, it's a pick-em price, and remember the name Irvine, and Irvine still has a better record than San Jose now, so I think the public, if they look at this game, they'll be on the Irvine side. I would probably take the points with San Jose. 67% of tickets, only 53% of the cash on Irvine, and they've dropped from 2 to 1. So the market read seems to say San Jose State, they're not the better team, but in this spot, I mean, it seems appropriate in that game. All right. Let's finish it off. We have a few NHL games. I don't have a play in the NHL today. I don't love these games. Washington is going to be at the Islanders. Washington's on a nice hot streak here, trying to return to what they were last year, man. Still with how old is Ovechkin now? 43, 42? I don't know. Washington's playing well. They've won 3 games in a row. They just beat Toronto. So I just think they're in a positive spot. They're starting a road trip with momentum. I don't think they're going to be like overconfident after beating Toronto. I think it's a good spot. First game on the road. Usually you do focus for that, and then they do have to travel out to the Pacific Coast after this, which is going to get more interesting. But for this game, they're only going to be in New York. The Islanders have played pretty well recently as well. Islanders did take 2 losses in a row, though. They did lose their last game in a shootout to Philadelphia. Don't want to talk about it. A loss on the show for me in that one. They're just staying at home, so they look like they're probably in bounce-back mode here. Even though they do have Tampa up next, it's not like they're really going to overlook Washington, especially when they're on a losing streak here. So both teams are in positive spots, but where it gets pretty interesting is the odds makers. To me, I think they're kind of telling you what to think here. They're telling you that Washington is the better team, as they're a favorite on the road, even though their record is only slightly better than the Islanders. I mean, I'm not going to disagree with the odds makers in this one. 71% of tickets, 95% of the cash on Washington. They're up to minus 126. I would probably lean Washington money line in that game. Not a play for me, though. I mean, I just don't really see much of an angle on it otherwise. Anaheim is going to be at Chicago. Anaheim, very good home team, not as good on the road. Don't think they're as good as the record indicates in general. They've been okay on the road. Basically, they're 500 on the road, although Chicago, a team that is not as good as their record looks either, although now they've kind of crashed back down to earth. So maybe Chicago will be able to get some games here in the near future after they've been exposed. And now, the market is having to adjust to that and whatever. And, people are not going to want Chicago anymore. Anaheim coming off a shootout win over LA. That's a big win for them, man. I mean, LA, their rival that's 30 minutes down the road or whatever. They're going on the road here. Usually, yes, you will be focused to start a road trip, starting with momentum. It's only a 2-game road trip. Is this the dad trip, by the way? I don't know. We need to know, man. We do need to know. Is this the dad trip? I'm going to look right now because whenever I see a 2-game road trip, I have to just, dude, I should just get in the habit of doing this. If it's a 2-game road trip, let's see if it's the dad trip. Like, sometimes you can't even find any information about it, man. I'm looking right now. I see a tweet about Anaheim's dad trip last year, which was in December of last year. I don't see it. I see no information about it. Man, that sucks. Yeah, I don't know. I can't figure it out. If anybody knows, they can tell me, because that would somewhat change my opinion, because that just adds more focus to the road team. As it is right now, though, Anaheim looks like they may be in a little bit of a letdown spot after that win over LA. Chicago hasn't been playing well right now, and Chicago is staying at home. Coming off a loss to Nashville, I know those two teams don't like each other, but having lost 5 games in a row and wanting to salvage the last game of a homestand where you haven't won any games on the homestand, and Knight will be back in net here for them as Soderblom was in net last time, so Knight is their better goalie. I would probably lean to Chicago in this one. Anaheim is going to be public. 81% of tickets. They have 93% of the cash right now. They're down from -120 to -119. I would probably look towards Chicago, though, as the home dog in that one. Unless it's the dad trip, then maybe I would have less of an opinion on Chicago on that one. But, I mean, I'm not going to give it out as a play either way, but pretty weird. It's weird that we have no information on the dad trips, man. I want to know. Tampa, yeah, their offense, yeah. I haven't played a hockey video game for a long time, and I used to play the EA one back in the day. I had it every year for a long time. NHL, starting with like NHL 97 or 96 onward. I had that game like every year. I haven't played many sports games in a long time now, though. I used to play it all. I played Madden, obviously. Had some of the college ones. Tampa is in New York to play their next game against the Islanders. Yeah, so if they're doing the Ranger Islanders thing, it makes it an easier travel spot for them in that one. Calgary is at Carolina. I mean, this is going to be the biggest line of the day of the hockey slate here, obviously. Calgary is one of the worst teams. Carolina is one of the better teams. So, and Calgary is coming off beating the returning champs, Florida. Florida kind of mediocre this year, but still, that's a huge win for Calgary to go on the road and beat Florida. I mean, that's a big win, man. Florida pretty much outplayed them, too. I mean, while face-off percentage was close, Florida had more shots, more hits in the game. There was an empty net at the end. So it's not like the game was really out of reach for most of it for Florida. Big win for Calgary, though. Will they be able to maintain that effort again against Carolina? I think they'll try, because Carolina's not a team you're going to overlook. But I don't know if we can get that much effort again out of Calgary here, man. They might just run out of steam here. That's the issue with teams that are not good like this, that have to try to put in a huge effort multiple games in a row as a road dog like this. Carolina just had a pretty easy win against the Hellebuck-less Winnipeg Jets, who look pretty much lost without him, which is ridiculous. I mean, he's the best goalie in the league, but still, I mean, I don't know. That team looks like they can't win without him, and Carolina had Bussy in net in that game, too, so they're going to have one of their better goalies in net, likely Anderson in net, who's been their better goalie for some period of time now in net here. I would not want to fade Calgary in this spot. We don't really see much going on with the market activity here. Carolina's a big favorite. They're down from -250 to -240, but, I mean, if I was going to play the game, maybe laying a puck line with Carolina or doing Carolina regulation or something kind of makes sense to me in this one. Carolina's been pretty good at home, and they only have one overtime loss at home. So if they're going to win, they're probably going to win in regulation when it's a home game. Calgary, expectedly is not great on the road either. So EA, yeah. It was that bad 3 years ago. I haven't owned that game in a long time. I haven't had Madden for a few years either. They kept changing Madden, dude. Like, I loved the graphics getting way better and stuff in Madden and that type of thing. But, like, Madden, dude, the fact that they change the kicking interface every year, it's like, what is wrong with you? Like, why would you keep doing that? Like, they had certain kicking interfaces that were absolutely fine, better than fine. And then, let's change it again. Fuck you, Madden. Fuck you, EA. Your parlay hit there with your player props there, Celebrini and Kempe. Hell yeah, man. Z, what's up, man? All right, and then we do have Ottawa at Dallas. This would probably be my strongest lean in hockey today, although it's still not strong. I don't want to give out a play or anything, but Dallas unfortunately beat us in that return home spot, which was not a good spot for them. They beat Utah anyway. They're staying at home off of that. I mean, I don't know, man. Like, do they overlook a team that's in the Eastern Conference, Ottawa, who is also a team they already beat earlier in November on the road at Ottawa? They might. I mean, Dallas, yeah, I just don't know how much weight they're going to put into this game against Ottawa. And Ottawa, I think, is kind of under the radar right now. 12-8-4, the record doesn't look that good, but we'll look at the odds in a minute. And the odds are telling you that Dallas is not the significantly better team here, that they're only slightly better. Ottawa just lost in St. Louis. I mean, I think that was a bad spot for Ottawa. If you look at that, I don't remember if did I give out St. Louis in that game? I don't remember if I did, but if I didn't, it was probably because St. Louis also was in a bad spot. But Ottawa was coming off a shootout win over Vegas, and they had this Dallas game to look ahead to. So basically, I think what that means is they were looking ahead to this game. I think they'll want to get a little bit of revenge, quick road revenge here for losing to Dallas at home. I like Ottawa in this game. I don't think it's strong enough, but I would lean to Ottawa here. Market seems to agree. Dallas is down from -150 to -138. Looks like a pretty cheap price on Dallas, man. It looks very enticing, I think, to the public eye to play this Dallas team that has a significantly better record. Everybody sees them as the better team. They are, but they're not a heavy favorite here, man. So the odds makers are telling you that there is not that much of a difference power ratings-wise between these two teams. 95% of tickets, 79% of the cash on Dallas. So they're public with less of the money on them. All right, let's go to NBA, and then we will get out of here. I'm going to give out 2 NBA plays. One is in the first game up, so we have an afternoon game. So even though I don't have any afternoon football, more best bets here. We do have afternoon basketball here, and you probably knew I was going to do this. We're going to take the 12.5 with the Utah Jazz at home against Houston. The Jazz have been pretty good to me at home, so hopefully that continues. They've been decent as a home underdog, man, so at least you can say that about the Jazz. This is a bad spot for the Rockets. They're very public, 89% of tickets, 96% of the cash for now, but they were going to be a 9.5-point favorite, and now they're a 12-point favorite, and I could not figure out why. Like, as far as I looked at the injury report and whatever, and there didn't seem to be anything that important in there, so I don't know what's going on with that, but hey, if you're going to get more points with the Jazz, why not? I mentioned this already because I was just waiting for Houston's next game because they're coming off a huge win over Golden State, man, on the road, getting playoff revenge because Golden State was the team that eliminated Houston. That was a big win for them, man. Houston, they've had 3 pretty big games in a row, barely losing, or 4 really, since Wednesday, November 19th. They beat Cleveland on the road, played really close with Denver at home. Then they went on the road. They beat Phoenix, who's been playing well recently, and that was kind of a big deal because that was I believe that was like the Durant trade game there, you know what I mean? That was the 2 teams that were involved in the Durant trade. So that was a pretty big deal as well, even though I don't even know if Durant played in that game. And then Houston beat Golden State as well. And now Houston, actually, maybe that's why. This might be Durant coming back, actually. I'll look at that in a second. Although, whether he does or whether he doesn't, I still like this play. Houston, now they're going on the road into elevation to play Utah. It's going to be a situation where they're playing Utah twice, or I think the next game might be an NBA Cup game or something. I don't know. The NBA Cup stuff is so stupid. I don't even know. But whatever it is, they're playing at Utah twice. But I just think they might be in a letdown spot here, man. And the fact that they had extra days off here might not help them because they might just be kind of basking in that win. Out on the Pacific Coast there against Golden State. That was a massive win. Maybe they were out in San Francisco celebrating. For Utah, I do think the spot sets up better for Utah. They just got to win against the Kings coming back home, so that's good that they just have some momentum now. And they had a lot of rest prior to that game, so they're not going to be like a tired team coming into this game. Utah did also have yesterday off, and they're staying at home. People will also look and see Utah just played Golden State, which you remember I actually laid the points with Golden State on this channel, and they did get there for us. It was close, but they got the win and cover. it was a good spot for Golden State, and I thought a bad spot for Utah because we played Utah here on the show in the game before that against the Lakers, and they covered for us. So hopefully we still continue to get it done, man. I mean, we got to win with Utah in that game against the Lakers at home. We got to win with them against Chicago at home. They won outright. I don't know. I don't want to go through all of them, but we did get some wins with Utah there at home. So hopefully we can continue that trend here. Even though, my Pistons whispering is better than anything else. Utah, I'll whisper some Jazz, though, just because I like jazz music. But, yeah, people will look at this and see, Golden State, both of these games at Golden State, by the way. Golden State beat Utah by 17, and Houston beat Golden State. So it looks kind of easy, even though it's a big number, right? It looks pretty easy. Houston should easily handle Utah, right? If they beat Golden State and Golden State easily beat Utah. Again, that's not the way that it works, though. Every game is an individual situation. So we do have that common opponent, misleading the public coming into play here as well. I don't put that much weight into that, but it's a little bit of icing on the cake as far as this one. This is my favorite NBA play. I like this one better than the other one I'm going to give out. So I don't know. Do what you want to with that information. But, yeah, we're going to take the points with Utah there. All right. Next up, we do have my Boston Celtics at Cleveland. Celtics are on a back-to-back with travel, having to come in from Minnesota. Celtics almost got the win yesterday as an underdog. They were beating Minnesota by quite a bit at halftime in the game. They had a double-digit lead. Cada came back and had a double-double at halftime. He had a double-double in the first half in this game against Minnesota. And then the Celtics had a horrible third quarter, horrible second half. They fell behind. They actually came back and, I believe, got right back into the game and then still lost. So after the Celtics put in that effort, I don't know what they're going to have left in the tank, man, against Cleveland here. Difficult spot here after that. They do have the Knicks up next, and maybe the Celtics will... I don't know. I'm not going to say they're going to overlook Cleveland, but the Celtics did already beat Cleveland at home by 20 points, and the Celtics have not beaten the Knicks yet, and the Knicks are the team that knocked them out of the playoffs last year, so they might put more weight into that Knicks game that's coming up on Tuesday. So I do not like the spot for the Celtics here, really, at all. The only thing you could say is it's Cleveland, so they should get up for the game, but sometimes that's not enough, man. And by the way, congratulations to Minnesota finally getting a win over a team with a winning record, and it happens to be the Boston Celtics, my Boston Celtics. So thanks a lot for all that. Cleveland is coming off a loss. They are returning home from a road trip, although there was only 2 games, but they've been on the road for almost a week, and they had to go up to Toronto, but the road trip was bad. They got blown out by Toronto, lost to Atlanta. It wasn't a significant road trip as far as like how long it was or anything, so I think they're going to show up for this game, especially because the Celtics embarrassed them in Boston earlier this year. Cleveland does have to go out on the road again and play tomorrow against Indiana, but they did just beat Indiana, so you know which game they're going to be focused on. If they put in a ton of effort in one of these games, it's going to be the game against the Celtics. So I would lay the points with Cleveland in this one. Looks like the money is kind of indicating on the Celtics. 81% of tickets, 97% of the cash on them. The line's down to 7 on Cleveland. Yeah, I don't see it for the Celtics, man. I would lay it with Cleveland. A little bit of a hesitation because it is a road trip return spot. I don't love it enough to give it out as a play or anything, but I would lean to Cleveland. I was going to look at Houston with Durant. Let me just see what's going on with him here. He is back. How long has he been back? I haven't even paid attention. Yes, this will be his return, so that's why the line moved. There it is. I figured it out. So Durant returning moved the line like 3 points, so now we have another factor in play here that makes this play even better. That's the reason why we're getting more value on the Jazz, because Durant's coming back, and the line, just because of that, has moved that many points. And again, I always talk about a reverse injured player theory. When that star player comes back, he has to work his way back into the lineup. They have to figure out their roles again and whatever. Houston's been playing pretty well without him, too. So that makes it an even more negative spot, in my opinion, for Houston in that first game that he comes back. So, hey, yeah, let's add that to the mix. Toronto at the Knicks. This is going to be an interesting game, man. Toronto's been really hot, but we'll talk about that in a second. The Knicks, they're staying at home. They had a return home spot in the last game, and they still won against Milwaukee because that was there was one negative for Milwaukee in that game, and that was that Giannis was returning from from an injury. And I know how weird that sounds, but when a player returns from injury, man, that first game, again, it throws a wrench into everything. So sometimes you want to fade that team, and the Knicks were able to just barely cover by like a half point in that game. I think they'll be focused on Toronto, though. I mean, Toronto's been on fire, so I do think the Knicks will focus on Toronto here. Toronto, maybe a difficult spot for them because they just took a loss yesterday in overtime. I know it was against a bad Charlotte team, but Toronto hadn't lost since early in November. And when you're on a huge win streak like that and you lose that win streak, I talk about it. A lot of times it will hang you over into the next game. Now, I think they should get up for a game against the Knicks, but still, I think the Knicks are probably the right side here. They're up to a 7.5-point favorite, although the money looks like it's coming back on Toronto. 52% of tickets on the Knicks, 56% of the cash on Toronto. I would lean towards the Knicks in that one. All right. What else? I was going to say one more thing. I forget what it was now, though. Oh, yeah, that's right. For Durant, was he actually injured or was it a personal outage? I don't remember. I get him confused with James Harden sometimes. Anyway, Atlanta at Philadelphia. This will be my other play. We're going to go with the Philadelphia 76ers on the money line. We're going to fade Atlanta in this spot. I know the Sixers have a bunch of injuries, but the fact that Embiid is out, I don't even think that's that bad. I mean, his knee is wrecked, so I don't know how much of an improvement he really brings to this Philadelphia team. Atlanta, they're in a bad spot, in my opinion. They just beat Cleveland. Huge win for them. Now they're going out on the road to face this Philly team. It's been very up and down. And tomorrow, Atlanta has to play Detroit, who beat Atlanta at home on November 18th. So I think that's a bigger game for a bunch of reasons. I mean, Detroit being one of the, I think they still have the top record in the conference, and they just beat Atlanta in Atlanta. So it's going to be a big deal, that game. So I think if Atlanta's going to put a bunch of focus on one of these two games on the back-to-back, it's going to be the Detroit game. So I don't like this, man. I think it's a bad spot. I think it's a sandwich spot. Philadelphia, again, they've been up and down, so I just don't think they're a team that really gains much attention right now. They're only 10-8. They were bad last year. Philadelphia, they just got a win over Brooklyn. They're coming back home from that single-game trip to Brooklyn. Not a big deal. Just going to New York, getting the job done, beating a bad Brooklyn team. What that will do is break their losing momentum because they had a 2-game loss streak before that. So I think that will give them some momentum coming into this one. I like that. And their game next is against Washington, so they don't have any look-ahead spot here. So I like that. They should be focused on this Atlanta team that's been pretty good as of late and has Trae Young back, so they're playing well. Yes, there are a bunch of injuries to be aware of. Joel Embiid is out for Philadelphia. Like I said, who cares? Again, I just don't really think that that's that huge of a deal at this point, man. He's been out since November 8th anyway, so it's not really affecting the day-to-day here, you know what I mean? Like, they're used to playing without him, and his knee sucks, so it doesn't even matter. Paul George is playing. Oubre is out. Oubre is, like, the one big injury here, but he's not, like, the main guy on this team, and hopefully, for our purposes, Edgecombe will come back, even though if he does come back, I guess it's a reverse injured player type of thing, but he's not their star player. I mean, he's a rookie, but he has a nice role on this team, and I think it'll be helpful to have him get back in the lineup. He hasn't played since November 20th. It looks like he's trending in the right direction, and he might play today. He's questionable right now, so if he plays, I like it either way, really. If he plays, I'm not going to say that you should not play Philadelphia because I just don't think it's just Edgecombe, so I don't think it's going to affect the line. It looks like the market doesn't agree, but 60% of tickets, only 55% of the cash on Philly. Market not agreeing with me right now, but I agree with me. So that's what I'm doing here. Fading the market read, at least for now. But again, this isn't until the evening, so it is possible that this market shifts to be in my direction. Because again, it's only a 5% difference between the cash and the tickets right now. So when it's that insignificant, sometimes you'll see it change. Like, we already see the money shifting towards the Knicks here. So again, I'm going to go with my read on this game. And there's a reason why the Sixers are favored too. Like, it looks way too easy to play Atlanta, right? You got a team that's 12-8, and they've been good on the road, 8-4 against a team that's 10-8, but the 10-8 team is favored. I mean, it looks a little bit strange. So, especially because some of Atlanta's losses came without Trae Young. All right, OKC is at Portland. OKC did get their revenge against Portland. Portland was the only team that beat them, although maybe OKC will still want to beat them in Portland because that is where that happened. So maybe OKC will still have that in their mind here, but they did get their revenge against Portland. We won with that one on the show. Oklahoma City's a dominant team. They're on a roll right now. They just had a close win over Phoenix where Oklahoma City barely covered at home. So maybe OKC will be more focused after that, go on the road here. Usually you're focused to start a road trip, but because they did just crush Portland on last Sunday, maybe they will kind of overlook them with Golden State up next. I could kind of see this game going either way, man. And for Portland, they're without Jrue Holiday now. They had Holiday in the lineup back when they beat OKC the first time they beat them. He was not in the lineup when they lost to OKC in that one. Portland did just lose in the return home spot to San Antonio, so they're in a positive spot now because when you return home, again, you can have distractions coming into play. They lost the game, and when that happens, usually you play better in the next game. They've had a bunch of days off, and this is their last game of the homestand, so I expect them to be focused. So overall, yes, I do lean to Portland in this game. Now for Portland, it's interesting because that first game where they pulled off the upset over OKC, they were only 4.5-point underdogs. And now basically just because they don't have Holiday and I guess recency bias, look at the number now. It's 11.5, dude. I mean, I'm not saying that 4.5, was an appropriate line in that first game, although the Blazers won the game outright. But the fact that it's 11.5 now, it's 7 points different from that. Like, have we really seen enough between then and now to adjust this line 7 points? I don't really think so. So I think the line value is on the Portland side here. The money seems to already kind of be coming in that way. It's down from 12 to 11.5. Thunder, for what it's worth, were like a 15.5-point favorite when we laid the points with them at home. So I mean, that number is more in line with this number because you probably give each team at most like maybe 2 for home court, probably really less than that. 53% of tickets, 53% of the cash on the Thunder. Overall, I would lean towards taking the points with Portland in that one. San Antonio is at Minnesota. Minnesota just had the comeback and beat my Boston Celtics yesterday. They're staying at home, but they are on a back-to-back, and they did play a big game against OKC the game before that, although it was on Wednesday, but still, they played 2 big games in a row, so letdown could come into play here for Minnesota here, man. And San Antonio still qualifies as a winning team, and we know Minnesota only has 1 win against a winning team, although they did get that monkey off their back. It was yesterday. But San Antonio's not in a good spot either. I mean, they just beat Denver 2 days ago on the road as a huge underdog. They pulled off the upset, so both teams here are in bad spots. So can't really pick a side in this game, in my opinion, but looking at the market, we have 73% of tickets, 90% of the cash on the T-Wolves. They're down from 4 to 3.5 here. I mean, maybe it does make sense to lean towards Minnesota, though, because I think the letdown spot is a pretty big deal for the Spurs here. I don't know, man. When you beat the Nuggets, not OKC, the Nuggets in Denver, I mean, that is a pretty big deal. The over, to me, makes sense, though. When you see 2 teams that look like they might be a little bit tired. They might not be totally focused here. I do think the over makes sense. I think it affects the defense, even though it affects shooting to some degree as well. 91% of tickets, 99% of the cash on the over. The total's up to 234.5. I haven't been checking to see how I do with these like over opinions, but that would be my opinion in that game. Memphis is at Sacramento. This is an ugly game, although Memphis has been playing a bit better recently, probably because they don't have Morant, and now the team knows that they're moving forward without him, basically. So that's actually improved their chemistry. But, I mean, hold your horses a little bit because Memphis' recent wins were against Sacramento, Dallas, New Orleans, and LA, the Clippers, not the Lakers. And they're playing Sacramento again here. They did beat Sacramento by 41 points the last time they played them in Memphis. So Sacramento probably remembers that. Memphis might just kind of overlook Sacramento because they did just annihilate them like that. So the game probably means a little bit more to Sacramento here. Sacramento coming off a loss in Utah, coming back home from that. It was a single-game road trip. I think they will be focused on this, even though they have Houston next. It's not until Wednesday, and that was an embarrassing loss when they played at Memphis. So I would lean to the Kings in this one. The money seems to agree with me on this one. Also, given what the team's records look like now, it looks too easy to lay the points with the Grizzlies, but do they really deserve to be a 3-point favorite on the road here? I'm not sure that they do. Even though the Kings have been awful, especially without Sabonis. 61% of tickets on the Grizzlies, 74% of the cash on the Kings. Money coming in on the Kings. I don't disagree with that one. And then we have a great matchup to finish it off with the Pelicans at the Lakers. Come on, man. Pelicans, even with Zion back, I think he is still back right now. They've been a struggling team, man. And they just played pretty competitively last night against Golden State. So they're on a back-to-back, having just played well against Golden State. And now they have to play the Lakers. Doesn't look like a great spot, man. They don't have rest. The Lakers do have rest coming into this one. They haven't played since Friday, and they had an easy win over Dallas. They haven't really had to step up in class for a while now, so the Lakers are just coasting. I kind of expect the Lakers to win this game quite easily, so if I was going to play this game, I would lay it with the Lakers. They're up to a 15-point favorite, though. 86% of tickets, 95% of the cash on them. Don't have much else to say about it. The last time I agreed with laying the points of the Lakers, though, they blew out the Clippers basically at home. So I leaned to the Lakers in that particular one. So I was right about that. All right. And then we do have NFL. We'll go to my final NFL market reads here, and then I will give you the best bets again. These final market reads, man, I mean, well, I don't know if they're final because I'm still going to be watching the market here, but we have more of the cash still on the Colts. And if you watched my ranting, horrific show last night, I disagreed with the Colts side there, but it's going to be, dude, my pick'em is already off to a horrific start this week, and I don't even, it's going to be a horrible week for me. I'm just resigned to that at this point. I kind of lean to the Texans in this game, but I still don't know what I want to do with it. The Buccaneers, I still lean to the Bucs, and I just don't understand why you're getting so much line value on them with Baker Mayfield back. Is it just because people question how injured he is or something? Make sure he is playing, but not back. He hasn't been out really, except that he missed the second half of the game against the Rams. But again, the Buccaneers look so bad in that Sunday night game. They are getting the cash though, even though they are public as well. But my opinion in that game is the Buccaneers. I mean, if Baker Mayfield is out, then you get the injured player theory coming into play. I think he is playing, but you're still getting the Buccaneers at a discounted price, I think just because they looked so terrible last week. But half of the game, Baker Mayfield wasn't even there. So if he's playing, I think it still makes sense to look in their direction. I do still agree with taking the points with the Titans. The Jags are public, and there's only a 1% cash percentage difference right now, so probably that's correct. Same really with the Rams-Panthers. I would only take the points with the Panthers. 81% of tickets, 83% of the cash on the Rams for now, but you're fading the public, and there's not a huge cash disparity there, and laying double digits on the road, and what I think is not the best spot for the Rams. No, thank you. I would still take the points of the Saints against Miami. Miami is in a bad spot where they didn't have a bye at a very good time, in my opinion. 82% of tickets, 86% of the cash on the Dolphins. So the money kind of on the Dolphins side right now, but I don't agree with that one. I don't think I'm going to change my opinion on that one. I like the Saints plus the points. Also, the Saints, they turned the ball over, I think, multiple times in Atlanta territory last week, so it made the game look way worse. I think they might have outgained Atlanta in that game, but I would have to go look. Speaking of Atlanta, the money is coming in on them, and that is kind of a significant cash difference, even though I was kind of leaning towards the Jets plus the points in that game, especially because it's just a low total. Both these teams are just ugly, and at this point, I just don't really have faith in Kirk Cousins, so I don't know. The Jets, by the way, are still going with Tyrod Taylor. I don't think it really matters between him and Justin Fields, but this one is a very difficult game for me to read. I kind of want to lean towards taking it with the Jets, but yeah, that's difficult. Also, the Niners look like they're getting the cash as well, even though I was leaning towards taking the points with Cleveland. I definitely don't trust Shedeur Sanders, so I do like the Browns' defense, and I don't love the spot for the Niners, so that's a difficult read as well. I would still lean towards taking the points of the Vikings against the Seahawks, even though we have basically the completely unknown Brosmer starting for the Vikings here. He can't possibly be worse than what McCarthy did in the last game, so I don't see that being a downgrade to the point where the Seahawks should be laying 12 points in this game. I would look towards taking the points there. I still like the Buffalo Bills, and I don't understand why the money looks like it's disagreeing with them. You got a reverse injured player spot in play here with Rodgers coming back for the Steelers. The Bills have had extra time off coming off of a loss on Thursday, even though it was against a punishing defense. But no, I definitely lean towards the Bills in that one. And that one is probably going to be the one that I add to my pick 5 because, well, I have to figure it out because my pick 5, I already lost on the Baltimore one. I'm going to have the 2 plays that I give out here are going to be in that entry for me. And then I have to choose 2 more games, and highly likely one of them is going to be the Bills. So pray for me. I still agree with the Chargers. I think they had a bye at a great time after just a disgusting loss. So I would still lay the points with the Chargers. The cash does look like it's on that side, even though they're public. Dude, this is a bad week where it looks like the public might get a lot of these games right, which I don't love. One where the market read does look very strong in my favor is, well, we'll get to my 2 plays here. I'll reiterate them one more time, is the Washington side. I know it says 6.5 here now, but you might really be able to get 7 on this. The game isn't until tonight. So again, this is why you want to have as many books as possible and why you want to keep watching the market. Find a 7, I would say pick it off, especially if you get it at like minus 115 or better. Plus 7 on Washington. I would still probably take the 6.5, but I think you will be able to get 7 because this thing is up to 6.5 with juice. The public is all over Denver, and much less of the cash is, and it's a low total with money looking towards the under here. So even though, yes, the Broncos normally would be correlated to an under because they're the team that plays defense, but in this case, asking the defense to lay points, the defense hopefully is not going to be scoring a lot of points in this one because that would screw us if that was the case. But usually the defense is not going to be what's scoring your points. That's the offense, and the Broncos' offense is still no good. And then, of course, I did give out a play on the Monday night game, which we'll talk about again tomorrow, but we're going to lay the points of the Patriots in that one. They look like a public side, but right now the cash percentage is right in line with the ticket percentage, so we'll see. But hopefully my situational read is right on that one, man. There are a lot of factors in that one. So those are the plays. And then once again, the other plays say are Texas San Antonio plus the points in college basketball, Utah Jazz plus the points in NBA, and Philadelphia 76ers money line in the NBA. That's going to do it, man. Yeah. Hopefully we have a good day for once. We need to bounce back. I'm not happy. Learn to Tone on Twitter, Learn to Tone on Instagram. Like, subscribe to the show here. Give me some good comments, whatever. We're on audio as well. Give me a good review over there on Spotify and Apple. Covered in Uke is my Uke channel, so you can check that out as well. Patreon.com/LearnToToad for Uke content that I don't keep updated. And you can get requests that I actually will do, but it'll take me a while to do it, unless it's something that I really can decide that I can't do. But I can do most things, hopefully. And then be on the lookout for Losercast, which will be the new podcast that I'm on with a panel of 5 dudes, and I don't even know who 40% of them are. But if you guys watch Tower Gang, you know me, you know Tyler. And if you're in that, sphere, then you know Leighton, who's Leighton is the guy that's like come up with this. He's the conceptualizer. He's the guy that created the podcast. So, and he's got his other podcast, Outlawed Thoughts, which you can check out too. I've been on that show probably at least 3 times. But yeah, that'll be a show that will be kind of a chaotic, comedy panel type of thing with maybe some format to it. We'll see how that goes. I don't know when the first episode is going to be, but it'll be soon. Thank you. I appreciate it as well. Yes, thank you, Pinsy. Yes, I'm angry about it, even though for me, dude, I'm putting my, my name out there. Like, I'm putting my opinions out there. Like, these are my opinions, and I want to be right about them. I'm trying to give out winners here. Like, my name is on these things. So, like, yeah, that alone makes me disgusted when I take losses like that, even though it's even worse when I actually am putting money on it, which, again, I'm not doing at least until I free up some of my money so I can bankroll it. But, yeah, we'll see. I may get back to it because I've been doing it for a long time. But, yeah, either way, I get really, really angry about it. Thank you guys for hanging out. I may be back with a weird special that nobody's going to care about, but it'll be filling out my college women's volleyball bracket. The bracket is out as of today, I think, and I don't know anything about any of the teams. I filled one out last year, and I did not get the champion right. I remember that. I think my champion got to the Final Four and then lost. I'm going to fill it out like live, probably on a stream where I know nothing about the teams. I like to watch women play volleyball, though. Although this isn't beach volleyball. This is like arena volleyball, but still not bad. Beach is just more awesome. But yeah, I'll fill it out and I'll be looking at the odds and not really have much else to go on besides the odds and try to figure it out based on like where the public perception is. It's going to be ridiculous and difficult to do, but I'll do it. If you guys want to hang out for that, I might do it tonight. So we'll see. And then we'll figure out what I'm going to do with the bowls, because I might actually do a bowl special-ish, or maybe just reacting to the bowl matchups in the playoff. I will do a playoff bracket special like I did last year for the college football playoffs, although those playoffs are not very interesting because there are only 12 teams, and it's like some of those are just complete mismatches in the first round with the way it sets up. But there's going to be some huge upset at some point that happens in that thing. Who knows when it's going to be. Last year, that did not really happen. But we'll see. So I'll probably do that as well. And I'll probably do I might do like a bowl reaction special too, where I just react to, because that's going to be next Sunday, I think, where all the bowls come out, and I'll give out some like early opinions, or maybe like you want to get on the line before it like moves completely, because typically I just talk about the bowls as they get played. Because it's a lot easier to just talk about a few bowls per day, even though at most you'll get like 6 or 7 on like the heaviest days. But yeah, all right, we'll see. But that'll do it for now. Thanks, guys. Peace for now.